Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, women and gentlewomen, weebs and weeblets, it is your boys here, Gun Nation United. My name is Creeder, as always, alongside of my beautiful co-host, starting off on the right corner, weighing in at approximately 78 inches, Leon!
Woohoo! Hello, everyone, and
And onto my right corner, weighing in at approximately $5 foot long, Guns!
cold and silent, just like winter.
Before we even get started, next video, we have a surprise for you guys. I guess we'll go ahead and say it. No harm, no foul. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about the drawings that our artists would provide us, and they are done. They just have to be scanned, and we are good to go on that. So stay tuned for that. He will also be getting a shout out and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for that. Really cool dude. Really did a good job, don't you guys think?
Yeah, I think so too.
So, anyway, without wasting any more of your time, because I don't like my time wasted, I'm sure you don't neither, we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. Today we're going to be talking about Ken Kaneki versus Eren.
And in case any of you who are living under a rock, we're talking about Eren Jaeger, Attack on Titan.
Thank you. That's his
problem.
last name, Eren Jaeger. Thank you. So, why are we talking about these characters? Well, so this is a little bit of an older comparison, and I don't know if a lot of people still compare the two, but I know back in the Disney when the two shows first came out, right? A lot of people were comparing the two characters, and I know for the manga readers who saw what happens to Eren before the anime onlys, because the anime onlys still don't know exactly what happens to Eren, so yes, there will be spoilers in this video, but a lot of people were comparing that the power turns and the personality change and stuff, a lot of that was similar. Some people might think it, some people may not. I just know it was an older thing going around on the forums and stuff like that, and in the community back when the two shows were Attack on Titan's still active, but back when like Tokyo Ghoul and Attack on Titan were like the big things, right? Again, especially for the manga readers who learned about the basement and learned about, how Eren's persona and personality and just really everything about him changed. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Whoever wants to go ahead and just jump in, typically this is just going to be more of like a relaxed video. So, I mean, whoever really wants to go first and kind of begin can go ahead and jump in.
Well, I guess I'll put a few words in first. I have noticed, because in my free time we do of course watch YouTube as well, people. It's not like we, after we film a video, like, okay, let's just go do this. No, we do actually watch YouTube every now and then, and of course I sent the link to this video to my friend Creator here, which hopefully he can link it down in the description to this guy, give him a shout out.
Sure
There's a
can.
video giving a very good explanation of Eren's new sort of turn with the new season of Attack on Titans coming out, because it did reference a lot from the manga, and it did explain a lot about his development and, all in all, his character's goal, which seemed
Right.
a bit interesting.
Yep. And before you get even farther, I hate to interrupt you, Leon. We should probably should have done this in the beginning, but why don't we go ahead and talk about the transformations, right? Like about how both of them occurred, and then we'll both give our opinions on each and how they aren't the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you brought up Eren. Do you want to go ahead and do Eren? I'll do
Sure,
Ken Kaneki.
Sure. Alright, well, to any of you who don't know, Attack on Titans is an anime where it takes place in a sort of, no, I don't want to say alternate, just think of it as a unique take on survival. We have the human race living behind three separate walled off parts of this city. Wall Maria, Wall Rose, and the third name of it escapes me, but
I think it's Sierra, isn't it? It starts with an S, I believe.
forgive me, we're not complete and utter like a lot of you out there, don't hate us. But yeah, so but in this sort of world, I'll call it, Titans exist. In case any of you who don't know what Titans are, who have not seen the anime or even have read the manga, they're literally just giant humans who literally eat Like, you have some of them that are as tall as 100-foot skyscraper, some of them who are as tall as maybe your local convenience store, maybe as big as a Walmart or something like that. They vary in size and shape and look. Male and female, it doesn't matter. If it sees you, guess what? You're getting eaten unless you're able to outrun them. And so the citizens of this city live in fear of them, because, what could we possibly do to defeat these things? Because, like, they keep returning again and again and again. Eren Jaeger, let's just say he's not that, I'm not saying he's not that great of a person, just, you can tell he has the heart to want to do something, but I don't want to say acts on it. And of course, my buddy Creeder here will agree with me on that one. Ain't that right?
Yeah, I think that especially in the beginning, it was, you kind of thought it was going to head in the direction of a darker shonen type character, especially because in the first episode, in the first chapter, you saw him young and his mom got eaten and stuff as a Titan, and he swore to defeat all Titans, but it didn't really go down like that. It started off. I will give Attack on Titan this, okay? For those who have seen Tokyo Ghoul, it started off like he was Ken Kaneki, right? It started off, he was very timid, very shy, stuff like that. The only difference was what happens later on. But he ends up getting these powers, and he's very I get the only word I can describe it is very timid.
Like
You know what I
pretty much
mean?
he's shy, he's nervous, he's scared of them because this city lives in constant fear of the Titans. So for our main protagonist, Eren, to just one day be able to turn into one of these things, yeah, you're not going to feel very comforting, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thoughts running through his head is like, oh my god, what's happening to me? What's going on? Did I turn to that? Why is this happening? You're like, he's worried because you have all of your friends, your neighbors, people that you've talked to on a day-to-day basis. The moment they see what he's turned into, immediately think of him as nothing more than a monster, evil incarnate, just the devil himself, and, kill him, get him away from us before he kills us all. They treat him with fear. They distance themselves from him. They literally see him as nothing more than a monster, which, I mean, pretty cruel, but yeah.
Yeah, I happen to agree on that. Another point I want to bring up is, he was nothing, even before he got his powers, he was, before his powers activated, I should say, he was really nothing special neither. I mean, Levi and Makoto were like the two heavy hitters of the Survey Corps. I mean, and that was pretty much it. So, the first battle happens, and yes, I get it. I get the scenery. They're big monsters. They broke through the wall, eat the little humans. A lot of casualties. I get it. There was numerous casualties. Wiped out a good chunk of the Survey Corps. But like I said, he was not really special, and so when he gets these powers, you think it's heading in the direction of every typical shonen. Oh, I got these powers, and I'm gonna go save the day, and I don't know, stuff like that. So when it didn't happen, I was kind of impressed for a minute. I was like, okay, so it's not the typical theme where you get this power boost out of nowhere and you automatically know how to use it and you're automatically brave. That's how Attack on Titan starts, and it starts to go in a direction where he starts to learn his powers. He starts to get a little bit more brave. He starts to build relationships,
and if you don't mind me
stuff like
interrupting or
that.
interjecting real quick, Greeter, yeah, it's not like in a lot of other animes out there, especially from shonen ones, where they immediately knows how to control this power. No, at first, Eren has no idea how to transform, let alone use his power. People, like, it takes him a while before he realizes the trigger for it and is able to get a sort of grip from in the beginning of the anime. Just wanted to make that clear because a lot of these animes, people are like, hey, I got powers, I can use them. No, this isn't My Hero Academia. You're not born with the fucking thing, and it's not like you automatically know how to use it and practice with it. No, okay?
And you start to, he starts to grow and stuff like that, and you start to learn. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. So everything's going fine. Everything's going fine and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, okay, So this is going to be very controversial because we're about to get into, especially why. I'm just going to be completely honest, and I know a lot of people are probably going to hate me for this, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think, well, you guys know what I'm talking about. So everything's fine and dandy up until a certain point, and I ended up, honestly, I ended up dropping Attack on Titan. I loved Attack on Titan, and then something happened in a manga, and I dropped it. I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. It didn't make any sense. Very hard to read.
And real quick, creator, if you don't mind me saying, before we go any further, there will be spoilers ahead if you have not read the manga, mainly, or whatnot. So you've been warned. We don't want people getting up.
Oh yeah, yeah. And again, if you like, it's just like we were talking about in last week. Was it last week's or week? It's like we were talking about last time, right? You're entitled to your own opinions. These are just our opinions,
But
right?
it's literally
That's all.
just telling you how we feel about things, what our opinion of it is, whether we like it or not. This is not us telling you that you have to agree with us or you have to agree with us. It is our opinion. It is how we feel on the subject. You are entitled to your own just as well. But if creator, yeah, but of course. But in case you're wondering, if you've paid attention to the series throughout the series, the Survey Corps, along with Eren and their sister and all their good friends, are trying to save the city from a group of Titan changers who believed this humanity, the people that Eren has grown up with, has made friends with, he's been neighbors with, deserves to die because they believe they are the problem with the world. So they are trying to destroy them, wipe them off the face of the planet. So Eren and the Survey Corps, along with Mikasa and all the good friends and buddies, are doing their best to stop them. You see this progression up through the series with friends of theirs who you come to find out were the Titans who destroyed the city and pretty much screwed them in the first place.
Right, and that's exactly right. So the series starts. They're fighting the Titans, and by the end of season 1, they're fighting a human. So at first, it's one of at first when I first saw and read this because I read the manga up to a certain point. I ended up dropping it at a certain point, but I ended up reading a fairly good amount of it, a fairly good amount, way more than I could took. And Leon and Guns can tell you when I was reading the manga, it was a struggle, but I read a good majority of the manga. So they Annie. So Annie was the first Titan or human Titan that they ended up fighting. And at first, it was great. It was like, okay, this is a different change. Okay, somebody else other than Eren can turn into a Titan, and they just happen to be bad for whatever reason. Cool, right? Then another person, and you're kind of like, okay, there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
And throughout the series, they keep talking about this basement.
It was,
and it's throughout a good majority of the story, like the first half of the story, Eren and his crew are trying to get to the basement, and I just interrupted Leon, so I'm going to let Leon go ahead.
All I was going to let them know is that with the Titan changers so far that we've seen that were part of the Survey Corps was Annie, and then of course you had the two other notable Titans as the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan, which were told, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and Reiner or Rainer, however you pronounce it. Certain wordings or certain spellings have certain pronunciations. I'm sorry, I'm not that right now. I don't care. But yeah, so pretty much like Peter's saying, throughout the majority of the first season, this basement, Eren's father's basement, is like their key focal point because they believe it might hold some more info on what Eren is, how he became what he is, maybe something that his father knew. Because so far it's starting to lean towards like his father had more secrets than he was letting on.
Exactly. So they're fighting these guys, and it was after. All right, before we even get to the basement, okay, I have to say this. I think that the downfall for me, and this is going to come as a shock because a lot of people consider this the best fight in Attack on Titan. like to date. What really started the downfall for me, honestly, was the Beast Titan fight. Now I love the fight itself. Like Levi was a fucking beast, and he took out the Beast Titan. But the reason that it was starting to be the downfall for me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but during that fight, we're talking like 90% of the Survey Corps gets annihilated, right?
I remember that episode. It was tough to watch. I'll be honest. It was
Right, which I don't have a problem with that. Here lays the issue. Okay, you find out that what's his name, Edwin, right? Yeah, the leader of the Survey Corps. So Edwin goes into a suicide attack with his men, while Eren and his crew, Eren, Makoto, what was the friend's name?
pretty much just to save my friend creator the brain power here. Pretty much Eren and his group, whoever was in there in that episode that all of you know, decided to go and do that.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me in a second. So there's two separate battles going on, which again I don't have any problem with. This is what I have a problem with. Okay, Edwin's entire group, except for Levi, gets annihilated off the map. Levi goes and kills the Beast Titan. He brings Edwin, and then Eren and his crew take out the.
They take out the Colossal Titan and Berthold, leaving him kind of indisposed. Not killed, but unable to fight back. But at the cost of Eren's closest friend getting nearly burned.
This is what I have a problem with, okay? And I think it's just from a clear strategic standpoint, okay? There's a choice, okay? Both sides did have injuries, or the Survey Corps side ended up having casualties. Here's the upside to this. One of them, and only one of them, could have came back to life by turning into the armored Titan. Now, and anybody who's seen the scene, I think you know what I'm getting at. So, you have Eren's friend, I still can't think of his name, the blonde dude with the long hair. But anyway, so he
Armin.
You have
Armin.
him.
Armin.
Huh?
Yeah. Armin is, I believe, how it's spelled.
Armin. Thank you. So you have Armin and you have Edwin. You have this kid who hasn't even been in the Survey Corps a year. And then you have the commander-in-chief of the Survey Corps, who's been on numerous missions, very smart, and I still believe he's smarter than Armin, but that's just my opinion. You're more than welcome to disagree with it, and the problem I have with, and I knew that they were gonna do this, but this was kind of like the first eyebrow raiser, I guess, or the first strike or mistake, in my opinion. Who do you think they brought back to become the armament?
The Armored Titan? They didn't.
Yes, the Armored Titan.
You're thinking of the Colossal Titan, because
No, it was the Armored Titan. You're right. You're right. The Colossal Titan. I'm sorry. The Colossal Titan.
Because the Beast Titan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. You're right.
Sorry, Pete. Let me just correct my friend real quick. I don't mean to be rude, Creator. My friend's talking about the scene where they give Armin the injection, and he eats Berthold, gaining Berthold's, or however to pronounce his name, powers of the Colossal Titan. Reiner was able to escape because the Beast Titan and one of his cohorts snag him from the Survey Corps.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got the scene right. I just got the wrong Titan.
It's okay.
My bad. It's been a long day, but
me,
yes.
I'm kind of feeling that. Like, don't get me wrong, people. I like Armin just as much, but I mean, I guess when you have a conviction of not wanting to become the thing you fight and hate the most, I can understand that, but still.
Yes. So that was the first strike. After this battle, huge spoilers ahead right now. Okay, this is season 4. This is like the last season 4 stuff for AOT. So if you're not caught up with the manga, and you're watching, be warned. This is heavy spoilers we're about to get into. Then they get to the basement, and they find out. So I had just watched that scene, okay, because I was Ben reading this. What ends up happening when they go into the basement is a big reason why it started to go downhill for me, the series. Yeah, so they get to the basement, and they find out, of course, about the other people, right? And they find out about the history. They find out that there's 9 Titans forms that you could choose. that there's the one that can control them all, and that there's this great warrior, and there's this great past, and this and
Pretty
that,
much,
and this and
pretty
that
much,
and that. You know,
pretty much, they
I'm
find
not gonna.
out the entire history of the Titan Changers and their group, and the bloodied history behind it. Pretty much.
And I'm sorry, it's not the main reason. We're gonna get to the main. We're gonna get to the main reason. Quit reading Attack on Titans very shortly, but this was a big turnoff for me. I did not like that they went into this direction. Personally, I think it was a really cool concept where they're stuck on this island with these titans, and that they live in the walls, and there's this war going on and stuff like that. And then you find out that the titans were really people, and it was because of a long bloody war history. And without getting into the details, I just didn't like that personally. I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. It made things messy, and it made things very gray, a very gray area, because in all honesty, if we're being honest here, there's arguments for why both sides are good and bad. So in my eyes, it's a gray area because there's no definitive good or bad person. There's no definitive this guy is good and this guy is bad. It's really based on what you
Yeah.
believe.
So
And I think that's a smart idea. I just don't like the way they implemented it, because I personally believe they had a good thing going on with the Titans, and I think it was more interesting with the Titans. Not that this isn't interesting, I just think that it could have been used in another show, not this one. Especially when you build up all this Titan stuff. If you were going to do that, I believe that that could have been a cool story somewhere else, and that could have just been its own story, if that made sense.
yeah, I think it does, and I can understand that. And in case any of you are wondering, we will link in the description below to a YouTuber who, I think, in my honest opinion, describes Eren's character development and a lot of the other key factors in more depth and detail than we're going into.
Yeah, we're just kind of scratching the surface
Surface.
and stuff like that. I mean, we could go into the details, but I mean, it would take a while to explain all the lore of
Yeah,
AOT.
like he shares a lot. But yeah, so pretty much, I mean, it's just, that's the thing with, I mean, me and Creator here can understand the direction they're wanting to go and their sort of interesting take on it, but I don't know. It just, there's a lot of gray area that makes you question a lot of the events that happen, let alone the direction they're going. I think is what my buddy Creator here is trying to finalize.
Exactly. And now, when I say that, I don't mean that it's bad. Okay, I think it's really ingenious, if anything. And I give the author or the mangaka credit for what, I don't know if it's a he or she, but what he or she did. I just personally don't like it. Or it's not that I don't like it, I just don't. Yeah, I don't like it for the story, because it made you question things. And questioning things is good. Like, I don't know how to word it. Maybe Leon can help me out here. I don't mind being questioned. I just don't think that it was implemented correctly, especially with what happens later on after the time skip, for one. And two, I think that they had a good thing going with just the Titans, and then they could have just left
Yeah.
it at that. And three, for me, for me personally, it's like I said, they could have implemented this in a story and done way better than what they end up doing with it. And for me, I like shows where there's a clear good guy and a clear bad guy. Because I mean, everybody has stressful lives and stuff like that, but when I get off of work after working a hard, long shift, I like to turn my brain off and watch it, or read, without having to go back and forth in my mindset over something like that. I think it just complicates a
And
story,
yeah, and to
for
help
me
my friend
personally.
Creator out with the wording, I think what he's trying to say is it's good to have a bit of doubt and questioning in animes to a certain degree. gives your anime a certain edge or a certain feel. Too much of that, I feel, will throw the viewer off and sort of defeat the main purpose or the main feelings of the anime itself, the main direction you're wanting to go. To throw too much question into that, I feel ruins a lot of animes you don't really hear a lot about. I think is what my buddy Creeder's just trying to say.
No, I definitely, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So before we get into the time skip stuff, Guns, you've been quiet. Do you have anything you wanna comment?
No.
When I first read what happened in the basement, I had to watch a video. Another reason, I was kind of hazy is because I had to watch a video to kind of explain to me, the history. Regardless, I kept going. And then the time skip happened, and oh boy. So before I go on a rant about the time skip, because I think that the time skip is absolutely garbage, I think that even with the complicated story that they were going for, I think that I think that they completely destroyed everything that they were going for during the time skip. I think the time skip is, or what will be season 4, is the worst part of the story. Everybody said, and there's not everybody, but there's numerous people that say that the Fourth Great Shinobi War in Naruto was the worst part of it. But I think that story-wise, character-wise, I think that they did a better job in everything than what they did after the time skip with AOT. Before I get into that, Guns and Leon, why don't you go ahead and comment, because you may have different stuff, and I'm just going to go on a rant. Before we get to that, why don't you guys say your opinions?
I can understand that because if any of you have not known what the way Eren's character development is, his thing is to fight. For him, it's to continue to fight to protect his friends, protect his family, and the way a lot of people see this as his personality as being an anarchist, but someone in regard of that. I can kind of understand and see that, but I don't know. But I wasn't very certain of that after seeing and hearing what direction they were going. I was like, I just don't understand it. I mean, I don't know why they would want to push Eren's character in that direction. I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted at the moment with that because I mean, I actually like this anime. It's one of those few good ones, but I just don't know after this point. Guns.
I pretty much agree with both of you that Attack on Titan kind of went off. It kind of went off track. So
No, I agree. So I think for me, I had the biggest problem with the time skip because I'm a manga. Well, I watch anime and manga, but I'm caught up on all the latest manga that I read, and so when I was catching up with the manga version, because I watched all the anime, and then I turned around and I read the manga from the beginning. And I was like, okay, let me read the manga, see what's different in it, and see what happens. Because they had, they're just now getting to the time skip with season 4, whenever it decides to come out, right? So season 4 starts really weird. Okay, I think it starts really weird because the chapter before the time skip, they end up learning about what happened, the past and stuff. They go through all the basement stuff, and then they come out of that, and they go to the coast, and you see Levi and the whole crew, Eren and everybody there. They point and they're like, over there is the mainland, and it skips. I don't even know how long it skips. I don't remember. I think it skips like 2 or 3 years, something along those lines. It takes the perspective of people in the mainland. It takes a perspective of these kids that are enlisted, and they're candidates to be the next people to get the Titan form, right? Yeah, the Titan form. It goes through a bunch of stuff without getting caught up in the details. It goes through a bunch of stuff, right? One of the kids starts taking a liking to this older guy, long hair and bandage, right? older gentleman that's living basically at the VA. It's basically like their version of the VA, right? He starts taking a liking to him, and he starts, delivering his mail and stuff like that, right? And the older guy seems to take a liking to this to this kid. And I would say it's probably a good like 20 or 30, if I remember correctly. Okay, it's like I said, I dropped it. It's been a while since I read it, but it's probably like a good 20 or 30 chapters before we start getting to the juicy stuff. It's just these kids. It's basically just following these kids and their daily lives. What ends up happening is that the older guy convinces this kid to get, what's his name, Ryder
I believe so.
or Raider. He ends up convincing to get this kid to convince Raider or Ryder, however you pronounce it, to come down and see him. He said that, he tells this kid, oh yeah, he's one of my old buddies and he's gonna love it and he's gonna be surprised and da 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 da, right? This kid's like, cool, I'll go get him. And it happens to be on day where their leader was holding a press conference because they were going to declare war on the island and blah 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 blah, right? So all this, they're about to declare war and da 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 da, right? The kid goes and gets him. The guy Raider comes down. Hey, the old guy with the eye patch and then the cane and stuff like that. Who does it happen to be? It happens to be Eren. So I'm like getting a little bit excited. But what happens next? I think what happens next is what killed Eren's character for me. I truly believe that this is what killed Eren's character, and it can't be recovered. It can't be redeemed. He can't be redeemed for what he did. So basically, what ends up happening is he turns into the Titan, and you see in the panels he kills men, women, children. He starts slaughtering everybody. Come to find out, 2 years earlier, Eren abandoned the Survey Corps, abandoned his friends, out of nowhere, like just out of nowhere, like this, no explanation, right? Totally out of character. And now he's here killing men, women, children. Basically, what the Titans did to his family, to his village, he's doing it to these people, innocent people. Now, granted, there are some bad people amongst the group, but you think the woman deserved that? The kid deserved that? You think that his friends in the Survey Corps deserved that? Come to find out that he had abandoned them, and the messages that the kid was sending was to the Survey Corps, and they came and they battled. And they stopped Eren and they put him in prison. It was honestly disgusting what they did with Eren's character. I have no words for it.
Like, I know this may be kind of wording it and on the nose and poetic justice, but they made him the monster that everyone thought he was. Plain and simple. Yeah.
But what gets me is that it was so out of nowhere. There was no build up. There was no hint. There was nothing. It just happened. I read a little bit more, but after that, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. It really did. I dropped it after that. Pretty much after that.
I mean, it's really sad because, sorry to interrupt, Chris, it was just one of those animes where it had a uniqueness to it, something that you could enjoy.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was good, but it just, he turned into a monster, and again, it's just it's and it was just bad taste is all. The way he killed those people, the way he treated Makoto after the fact. I mean, Makoto was his best friend. If anything, like he should have told her what's going on. He should have still had feelings for her, because I know that they had feelings. It was hinted at, and then he just dropped her. It just didn't make any sense. It really did not. It came out of nowhere. It was a complete shock.
It honestly felt like, if they, pardon my language, it honestly felt like they just decided to rewrite his fucking character because they were bored.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, he He does all that, and then of course over the time, over time skip and the flashbacks and stuff, you see the day I gained allies, and what really got me, and this wasn't, this just didn't make any sense. Like I wasn't even mad about this. I was just really confused because it didn't make any sense. So apparently, over the time skip, they had became friends with some of the neighbors of the motherland, and then Eren just betrays him out of nowhere, pulls guns on him, and says, "I'm going to take your supplies. I'm going to take this and that." After building this relationship with him, and it's like, bro, like it doesn't make any sense. Like these people want to help you because you're going up against the strongest army, and you're still using outdated technology, and you just betray your allies who have better technology than you. It's like if Jamaica wanted to invade fucking Britain. It just wouldn't make any sense. I don't really have anything else to say on that. I mean, you guys are welcome to throw your opinions in, but
Yeah, no, I think I can say for both me and Guns here, we kind of agree. We agree with you on that one. It was just so sudden, so out of nowhere, barely any. It's like they threw a curveball at you.
all right. So I think we're done with Eren, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to my boy Ken Kaneki.
For this, we'll let our good buddy Creator here fill you guys in.
The reason that we're saying this is because back in the day, a lot of people would compare, when these shows were going on and what happened in the, when the manga was ahead and stuff like that. A lot of people would compare what happened, and some people might still do. I don't see it as often. I don't know if you guys still see it, like Guns and Leon, but I know you guys definitely remember a lot of people would compare what Eren did and his change to Ken Kaneki's change.
I'm sorry, they couldn't be farther from the frickin' truth in comparison. I'm sorry, that's my honest opinion.
Yeah.
Eren Jaeger's development and transformation is nowhere near a comparison to Ken Kaneki.
Before we go ahead and debunk that little thing, why don't we go? We'll go ahead and we'll introduce you to Ken Kaneki. I just have to say, I absolutely love Ken Kaneki. He is one of my, and I think Guns and Leon, they both know I'm not a big protagonist guy. Like I usually like one of the side characters more than the protagonist. But honestly, Ken Kaneki is one of my favorite protagonists ever. Period. And that's a lot for me to say because again, I don't typically like protagonists. I typically like one of the side characters more. The only exception to that is Luffy and Ichigo, but Ken Kaneki is definitely in my top 3. It's Luffy, Ichigo, and then Ken Kaneki. Anyway, so basically, Ken Kaneki, alright, enough wasting your time. Ken Kaneki is the protagonist from Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is a manga and anime series about Ken Kaneki who ends up, he's your every average Joe college student, One day, he lets his brain talk to him. Not his brain up here, but his brain down there. Okay? His head talk to him. Basically, what ends up happening is he goes on this date. Beautiful girl. Beautiful. They go out. They have dinner. They go to the bookstore. Everything's fine and dandy. Or is it? Because out of nowhere, she goes to eat him. Because in this world, there are these things called ghouls. And ghouls are essentially, they're basically human-like figures who survive off of human flesh. So they're basically like cannibals with powers. Yeah, they're basically like cannibals with powers, essentially. Except if they don't eat human meat, they die. Because if they eat anything else, they get sick. Yeah, so he goes on this date. She turns out to be a ghoul. She tries to kill him. She ends up dying. Crazy. I know, it was an accident. Stuff fell from the sky and landed on her. However, during the encounter, Ken Kaneki was injured. And so he and she was rushed to the hospital. She didn't make it. He needed organ transfusion. Bam, he ends up with one of her organs. He becomes a half ghoul. The series is about his struggles adjusting to his new life. He makes friends along the way. He becomes nice to the other ghouls. He starts to learn that, hey, not all ghouls are bad. He starts later on, he starts to fall in love with a ghoul, Toka, who, as you don't know, Toka was my very first waifu. Very first waifu. But she's great. She's an awesome character. Essentially what happens is it starts to basically run through his life up until a certain point. The first half of the anime and the manga is him learning about his ghoul ways and trying to figure out a way to balance out, because at first he rejects his ghoul side. Then he starts to kind of want to balance it, but he's still more human at heart, you know. He still rejects his ghoul side deep down. He just starts to opens up and accept it a little bit more, just a little smudge more. Then the Jason arc happens. I mean, not much to say. The only other notable thing besides before the Jason arc, in this world you have the ghouls, and you have good and bad ghouls. You have this organization that hunts down ghouls, right? They're like an FBI SWAT team, you know, that type of thing, right? They're a federal law enforcement group that is assigned to track down ghouls, and of course there are good and bad people there. So, for instance, Toka's brother, he's a ghoul, obviously, and he's a terrorist. He goes and he kills innocent civilians and stuff like that. But then you have other ghouls that are part of the cafe that are friends with Ken Kaneki, who are good. And they eat off of people who have committed suicide. They eat off, they found ways to adapt with the sugar cubes and the coffee and stuff like that. And they're just trying to live normal lives. You know, they're not out killing anybody. But the flip side, the humans are the same way. So you have good humans, and then you have bad humans that are out. So you have the good humans in an organization that are out actually trying to stop the ghoul terrorist groups. And then you have the bad humans who are out trying to kill every ghoul, period. And at one point, the senior investigator of this task force kills a mother and father, almost kills the daughter of the modern father before Tokus ultimately steps in. It's one of those stories where it has a good blend of good and bad on both sides, right? I think it is what Attack on Titan went for, but the difference is Attack on Titan overcomplicated everything, okay, and made changes out of nowhere. Whereas Tokyo Ghoul let it build up slowly and let you meet all the characters, and each character had their own mini arc, you know, and their own story of introduction. And gradually, throughout the anime and the manga, you get to meet the characters. It slowly progresses, and it's simple, really. I mean, you got good humans, you got the you got good humans and bad humans, you got good ghouls and bad ghouls. So that's number one. Well, like I said, there was the Jason arc after all that, you know, the introduction to the good and bad humans and a couple other things happened, but then the Jason arc happens. So throughout this entire thing, Ken Kaneki is struggling with his school side. Basically, the shit gets real, right? I mean, shit gets fucking real quick. So what ends up happening is Toka's brother ends up going to visiting her, and again, he's a terrorist. He's fucking crazy. He ends up going to the cafe shop that Kaneki kind of got adopted into. He works there part time with Toka and all these other people, and you know, he's starting to learn about the ghoul side and blah 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 blah. But then Toka's brother comes in, and he works for this organization. He starts tearing up the place and stuff like that. Shit gets real. And they end up, Kaneki ends up standing up for Toka. Jason ends up kidnapping Kaneki. I know there was a lot of explaining, Guns. Do you want to finish this off while I have a sip of my beer? And explain the importance of the Jason arc? Or Leon?
Well, see, in case any of you don't know what happened, Jason
Good beer.
literally beats him within an inch of his life before they take him away. Like, I mean, if you've seen the episode in the anime or if you've read the manga, Jason, if not for Kaneki being a ghoul, he'd be dead, plain and simple. And so he gets captured. He gets taken to their headquarters, And I hate to say it, but let's just say in Jason's free time, he likes to do a little bit of torture to keep himself occupied.
Yeah.
So, creator, if you want, you can go ahead and explain the juicy details, because I know this is your favorite part.
Basically, what ends up happening, okay? And again, we're skipping a lot of details. I highly recommend you go you go watch the first season of Tokyo Ghoul, or read the manga, because it is a tremendous story, and we're just basically summarizing everything that happened throughout the story of Tokyo Ghoul. Again, he's fighting with his ghoul side, and one of the reasons is because, if you remember, I was talking about how he got his I guess his Ed's girlfriend, right? No. But he ends up he ends up getting her organ, and she'll pop up every now, especially in the manga. The manga is, again, a lot more detailed. She ends up popping up every now and then, and it's a struggle. It's like an inner struggle with him. She wants him to embrace his school side, and he doesn't want to, because he doesn't hurt anybody, because she was messed up, and he doesn't want to hurt any of his new friends, and he doesn't want to lose control because she's one of the most powerful ghouls, and it's just this inner struggle, right? Well, when he gets taken and gets the living shit beaten out of him, again, especially in the manga, it's very graphic. Like, he gets his ass beat, right? Well, what ends up happening is basically he starts to embrace his ghoul side. He finally says, "You know what? I'm not gonna let you control me, but I'm gonna start making my own decisions and embracing my ghoul side to not only protect me, but protect the ones I love." And he has an inner change in himself and a physical change in himself, or physical change of himself. Embraces his ghoul side. All the stuff that Jason did to him, he does it 1,000 times worse to Jason. With his new side, he starts protecting his friends. Like, it's a complete 180. He's able to protect his friends and admit his feelings, and yeah, it's a really good story. Really sad story, but a really good story nonetheless. And you should definitely check it out. Here's the difference, okay? We say all this, and we say it with pretense, because, oh gee, Leon, I don't know. Which one sounds like it has better character development, better change, better in the sense that it made sense and it's not out of nowhere, and that it slowly, gradually over time introduce you to new themes and ideas and conflict and struggle, and then finally embracement.
That would have to be Tokyo Ghoul, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I have it's the better one in my opinion.
For those of you that want to say that Eren is a genius character, I 100% agree. For those of you that want to say AOT is better than Tokyo Ghoul, I 100% disagree. And for those of you that want to say that the change in Kaneki is the same change as Eren, I damn sure disagree with you. Because it's not.
No, it's.
Eren's change was an inner.
I was gonna say it's nowhere near close.
I think Leon would agree with me.
I have to agree. I have to agree with creator on this one. I'm sorry. I liked Aaron's character. I liked the story of AOT and all that. It seemed well, but I'm sorry. Tokyo Ghoul had a better, in a way, better story development. Like, you could actually see the visible changes in the characters, especially in Kaneki himself. It was one of those animes where, in honest opinion, they nailed everything perfectly. Wasn't too much, wasn't too little. Literally, it was perfect. Second season, however, that's very questionable. But
We don't talk about that. That's why you go read the manga.
You can tell my buddy Creedy here is just not a fan, because yeah, just.
Now, I mean, if you want to watch the first season of Tokyo Ghoul, it basically summarizes the manga, and it is good. But if you really want to, and if you find what we're talking about interesting, and you want to check out Tokyo Ghoul, if you're considering checking out Tokyo Ghoul, definitely go buy a manga. It's one of those instances like Berserk, which We need to make a Berserk video at some point because I love Berserk and I got a lot of things to talk about on that. But it's one of those things where sometimes the manga just does it better. I mean, sometimes anime has good anime adaptations, but sometimes they don't, and it shows. And you should go read the manga because a lot of people haven't read the Tokyo Ghoul manga and they've just seen the anime, and it's a shame because the story is incredible. Even Tokyo Ghoul Re, you know, I like the original Tokyo Ghoul better, but Re was not bad, especially if you go in there just reading the manga and you don't watch the anime because the anime is very confusing, especially when it gets to Re and stuff like that. No, just read the manga. It's a really good story. The original Tokyo Ghoul manga is amazing. Re was pretty good. I thought it was a really good conclusion, especially with him and Toka and what happens there and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely go check it out. And yes, Leon, I'm passionate about it because I love Tokyo Ghoul. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely in my top 5.
I understand, and trust me, it's
So.
alright. I was just gonna say, for Kaneki, he finally got him some after a while. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I might just have to go pull that back up later tonight. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I think Creator here just talking about search stuff.
Research.
But yeah, I mean, in my honest opinion, and I'm pretty sure I speak for all three of us here, Tokyo Ghoul just had the better thing of everything, and Kaneki had the superior character development and all. I'm sorry, Eren. I liked his character. I liked the direction they were going with it at first, but I feel like they just overshot it.
I 100% agree. However, if you, the audience, yes, you at home, getting ready to type away with your hate comments, Tokyo Ghoul is not better than AOC or AOT. Oh my goodness, how could you ever say that? No, listen, all right. That's your opinion, and that's fine. And if you genuinely think that, and you want to tell us why in the comments, without being butthurt, because we don't have any pussy passes, and we damn sure don't have the phone number to the Wambulance here, okay? But I mean, if you wanna tell us why why AOT is better, by all means, let's start a discussion. I just haven't. I just disagree. I mean, I hadn't seen it, but maybe we're missing something. So, boys and girls, children of all ages, women and gentlewomen, weebs and weeblets. I've been your host, Creator. Excuse me. I've been your host, Creator.
Yo.
This is Leon. That's Guns. And remember the golden rule that if you're going to shower naked, at least have a beer in your hand. Wait. Wrong rule.
That's your personal rule last time I checked.
Yeah. You gotta have a beer while you're standing in the shower naked. It just makes you feel more like a man. No, the real golden rule. Remember, keep your ammo hot and your beer ice cold. And we'll catch you on the next one.